Hello and welcome to Star Trek Explores. This is episode 1 of a Star Trek Adventures, the role-playing game campaign. This episode is entitled 5-Year Mission. We're going to jump right into the inaugural adventure of the U.S.S. Venture. The Constitution-class U.S.S. Venture has warped beyond the borders of known space on a 5-year mission of peaceful exploration. A few minutes ago, you picked up an audio-only distress signal from a small scout ship. The message asked for immediate beam-out of all hands due to a failure in the ship's life support systems. But when the Venture dropped her shields to beam aboard the scout ship's crew, the whine of a foreign transporter beam filled the bridge, drowning out the whirs and beeps of normal bridge operations. A boarding party of Klingon warriors suddenly appeared on the bridge. The Klingons unleashed a bloodthirsty battle cry and attacked with Tog daggers. Bridge officers hit the deck, some of them wounded. Paul, Miguel, and Yong, it's time for your characters to spring into action. Commander Han is tied for the highest daring score, and he's the head of security. He also has the value, you live once, live courageously. So Yong, your character will act first. What I'd like you to do is briefly introduce your character and where he is on the bridge and what he looks like and how he responds to this sudden crisis on the bridge of his ship.
Hando Han is a chief of security officer on U.S.S. Venture. He is a hand-to-hand combat expert who grew up in the bustling metropolis of Seoul, Korea. He believes diversity, diligence, cooperation, and courage are the keys to successful mission. Back at the academy, he has earned a bit of reputation as a fearsome combatant for knocking out Cadet LaRusso with a mean right hook kick to the face during the all-department intramural martial arts championship. He has since excelled as a security tactical officer and served aboard U.S.S. Trenton when it was boarded by hostile Romulans. Under the orders of his senior tactical officer, Hando left his usual post to escort Vulcan scientists to safety. Although the attack was repelled, his charge was unharmed. The experience left Hando with regret, as there were many casualties. So Hando right now is in the back of the. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. I've got kids myself.
Yeah, come on, it's the COVID crisis, guys. Everybody's help.
Absolutely.
So he's at the left-hand corner. You see that guy over there shooting that laser? That would be just about where Hando would be in this situation. He pulls out his phaser and he points at one of the Klingons and says, "Captain, permission to shoot the Klingon." Yep, that's him.
Okay, so yeah, I pulled up this image that Modifius put out when they first announced Star Trek Adventures and were putting out some promotional materials. And this image is pretty much exactly like, I actually saw this in the book and thought, I want these guys to go through this. Klingon storming the bridge. One of the traits for this scene is chaos. There is smoke erupting from some of the bridge consoles that have been blasted with phasers or disruptors. There's shouting, both from the Klingons and from those they've wounded. It looks like at least one of the bridge officers, science officer, a Vulcan woman named Talasa, has been stabbed with a dagger and is face down on the deck, bleeding green blood on the deck of the bridge. And Hando, if you would like to fire a phaser, you will need to use a bonus action. On all of your turns, you get a bonus action and then can attempt a task. You would need a bonus action to pull a phaser out of one of the weapons lockers stored at strategic locations on the bridge. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what he wants to do. But cool. On his way, if he has an opportunity, he's going to try to punch a Klingon in the face.
So you can certainly try to punch a Klingon in the face if that's what you'd like to do, but that will be, you can attempt one task per round. So if you want to fire a phaser, or you can fire your phaser, or you can attempt a melee attack, but you can't do both.
I see. How many Klingons are on the bridge at the moment?
Looks like right now there's a melee going on. Some phaser fire has taken out at least one of the Klingons. It looks like there are 2 still up right now.
Okay, well, he's going to jump into action. and he trusts that he'll be able to do some damage. So he's gonna hop down across that little railing and approach a Klingon and deliver his trademark right hook kick to the face.
Awesome. Okay, so you're attempting a melee attack against one of the Klingon invaders. You're going to need to give me a daring plus security roll, and I'm going to oppose it with the Klingons, or the Klingon warriors roll. So you have a value that is called live courageously, that you decided was going to be live courageously. So I'm going to say that that absolutely applies in a situation like this. You all begin the game with 1 point of determination. If your value applies to a situation, you can use that determination to give yourself an automatic critical success on an extra die on the roll. You don't have to do that, but I'm just saying that is an option that's available to you during this scene.
Yep, absolutely. He's going to use that.
Okay, so you automatically start the roll with 2 successes, and you roll 2 d20s, and you're trying to get equal to or less than your character's daring plus security.
Yes, and 1 success. So 3 successes
1
total.
success. And then yes, 3 total successes. I'm going to look up my Klingon statistics. I should have done this beforehand, but I forgot. Here they are. He only gets 1 success.
It has to be under, correct?
Yes, equal to or less than.
Okay, if it's equal to, then he has both of the die had met success.
Okay, a total of 4 successes. The Klingon had 1. You generate 3 points of momentum.
Ooh,
I start
nice.
with 6 points of threat, 2 for each of you. And you can now roll damage on your physical attack, which I think is 1 plus your security discipline in D6s.
1 plus security discipline. My security discipline is 5, so I get to roll 6 D6. Here we go. What am I looking for?
Okay, so 1s and 2s are one. Take out all the 3s and 4s. Just get rid of them.
Okay.
And do your melee attacks have like the knockdown quality or any effects associated with them? I can pull up your character sheet.
It is mean right hook. Hold on.
That means when you get an effect, it's an additional +1.
Okay, so you get 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and 5s and 6s are also 2s.
Okay, I got 2 6s, 1 5, and 1 2.
2 6s, that's 4, 1 5, that's 6, and 1 2. So you do 8 points of damage.
Ooh, nice.
The Klingon has 1 resistance, so you do a total of 7. So that's going to be enough to knock this Klingon out, to give him an injury, but it's a non-lethal sort of attack because it's a melee attack. So you can go ahead and narrate for me, Yong, how Commander Han takes out this Klingon as he springs into action on the bridge.
As an opportunity presents itself and the Klingon is within range, he hops over that little railing. He turns back, and as he does so, his right leg shoots up in a little hook and connects powerfully onto the face of the Klingon, and he says, "Watch out!"
Awesome. So yeah, the Klingon falls, and there's a huge thud on the deck plates of the bridge of the U.S.S. Constitution as this enormous Klingon warrior falls, and his dagger clangs to the ground as well. So the initiative will now shift to the remaining Klingon who is attacking the bridge, unless you guys would like to spend 2 points of momentum to keep the initiative on your side. Would you like to do that?
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
How many Klingons are left?
There is 1 left.
Yeah, let's do that before he has a chance to wreak any havoc.
Okay, so either Captain Harriman or Dr. Ozil, either of you can act, whichever one of you wants to. And when you do, please introduce your character and tell us a little about him.
I'll do something. So my character is Captain Robert Harriman. He's a fairly new captain. This is his first command, particularly of a Constitution class. So he's really kind of proud of that. But he has left his wife and his 10-year-old son at home. So he's already missing them quite a bit. And in this particular situation, he's going to go for that final Klingon.
Okay, and how are you going to do that?
It's just going to be hand-to-hand, I'm afraid.
All right, then you will need to give me another daring plus security roll, and you have 1 point of momentum if you would like to use it.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Let's spend it all.
So you get to roll 3 d20s, and I will oppose it with the Klingons roll.
Okay, so I'm looking at daring 10, security 4, so that's 14. And I made 2 successes.
Okay, I rolled a critical success, and
Oh.
so the Klingon rolled 3 successes. So as you spring into action to confront this Klingon in hand-to-hand combat, he towers over you, and he lets out a violent roar, and he reverses the attack and slams you to the deck. And he's going to do... roll some damage here. He does 5 points of damage to you, Paul. This is non-lethal damage. That is enough to. So you. This would cause. Ordinarily, this will cause an injury to you. However, you have some options. You don't have any momentum to spend, but you could pay me 2 threat to avoid the injury. You could instead accept a complication, or you can spend your point of determination to take the injury but stay in the fight anyway.
I don't want any more threats, so I think I'll spend the determination. I'll grit my teeth and take the injury. Or
so the Klingon picks you up.
The hit.
Yeah, the Klingon picks you up off the deck and slams you, snaps you back to the ground, and your head bounces against the floor of the bridge. And you, there's like a flash in your consciousness. You lose consciousness for a moment. There's a ringing in your ears, and you are pretty sure you've suffered a concussion. So you lose that stress. You are injured. If you do not receive medical attention soon, there could be serious consequences. But just through sheer determination, you are willing yourself to stay conscious and to stay in this fight.
Okay, it's a good job I left the doctor active.
Yeah. So the Klingon, it's now his turn. And he pulls out his Dik-Tak dagger and charges across the bridge at this at the security officer who just took out one of his comrades. So Yong, I need you to give me an opposed daring plus security roll as a Klingon swings his dagger at you.
Ooh, I only have 1 success.
Okay, that's enough. You are able to describe for me how you were able to reverse this attack from this lumbering Klingon.
Okay, as he charges after knocking down that one Klingon, he sees him charge at him with that dagger. With a sudden thrust of his hand, he grabs the dagger hand and uses that momentum to flip him and deflect that blow sideways.
Yeah, roll some damage for that.
All right. How many damage? Is it still security
1 plus your? Yep, 1 plus your security.
Same as before. Yep. Still rolling. Okay, 4. I get to throw out 4. Yeah.
3s and 4s are throw those out.
3s and 4s. 2 6 and 1 2.
2 6. So that's 4 plus 2. So another 6 points of damage. The Klingon resists 1 point, but takes the rest. And so he is also, as you snap him back down to the deck, he bounces his head on the deck as well, and he appears to be out cold for the moment.
Yeah, that was a classic judo movement right there.
Does Commander Han say anything as he flips this Klingon onto his back?
Oh, he just looks at him and says, "You have underestimated the prowess of Earth True Warrior."
All right. The only person yet to act in this first round of combat is Dr. Ozil. You have at least 2 comrades who appear to be injured on the deck right now. You've got a Vulcan science officer who's been stabbed, and your captain appears to have suffered a concussion. I think you're muted, Miguel.
Okay, cool. I'm going to have to do the first 8 tasks. I have the first response talent, which allows me to gain a bonus D20 for free. So I'm going to go and do medicate first aid on the stab Vulcan first, and then have to do the captain. Odds are there's probably going to be a lot more Klingons coming in, because it always happens.
The first aid task is daring plus medicine, and it's a difficulty 1 task.
Okay, cool. Emergency medicine applies?
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, I got a 13, 3, and 4. My critical range was 5, so I got 5 before extra momentum.
How many total successes? That was 5 successes?
Yes.
Okay, so you generate 4 points of momentum on that one roll. Which of the injured crewmates were you?
I was helping the Vulcan get that knife out, and then you know that weird look when you see the knife and you're like, wow, this is a very serious knife here. And just put it to the side while I'm just doing a sort of basic triage here. And then also having to deal with the captain too.
Yep, go ahead. So yeah, you pull out that dagger, and you're absolutely right. It is a nasty looking instrument, and it's covered with sticky green blood at the moment. But you're able to stabilize the Vulcan. She's still injured, but at least she's not going to die. You can swing over across the bridge and help out Captain Harriman as well.
Okay, same roll applies.
Yep, same roll.
Okay, 5 again.
Okay. So you now have filled up your party's full complement of 6 momentum, and the captain is now stabilized as well. Stabilized enough that you're once again fully conscious, Captain Harriman, and able to take charge of the situation if you like.
Can I also spend some of that momentum to create a condition that we can set the ship on red alert?
That was going to be my next order.
Yeah, you don't need to spend any momentum for that. The red alert klaxon starts to sound, and shields automatically go up.
And I'll hit the intercom and order a security team to the bridge as well.
Yeah, so you look at the view screen, and you see this pretty small scout ship that is just kind of hanging there in space. It doesn't appear to be. It appears to be at a stop, and it has not taken any additional defensive or offensive stance.
Well, Captain, I do suggest you have the check it on the sensors. If anything, I'm going to get these Klingons we dealt with into sick bay.
I think we'll get them to the brig first. Chief, would you care to get your security team to move these Klingons to the brig? Doctor, you can treat them there.
Yes, sir, Captain.
I want to make sure they're under control before they're treated.
They seem to have suffered a very nasty fall from our security officer, Captain.
I know exactly how that feels, but we can't afford to have these Klingons roaming around if they happen to recover, and they're a lot tougher than we are.
Understood, Captain.
Right away, Captain.
Okay, let's have a status report from the rest of the ship then. Have we got any other Klingons boarded at all?
No, you start status reports start to come in from all the major departments. It looks like this was a very surgical strike to the bridge of the starship, and there don't appear to be any further reports of Klingon boarding parties.
Okay, and we'll get some sensor scans started specifically on that ship. I want to know its combat capabilities and if there's any other life forms on board. And then we'll get a scan going of the local
Yeah, so
area.
I've got some stats for a science officer here. If someone would like to, if someone would like to give a name and species to the junior science officer who's now taken one of the science consoles on the bridge.
Go for it, guys.
Mr. Tulak from what's that one creature? Andorian?
Andorian? The blue
Yeah,
guys with the
Andorian.
antenna?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so an Andorian science officer he has to step up because the more senior science officer, the Vulcan woman, is injured. And so he composes himself and steps over to the that little thing that Spock's always looking into with the blue light coming out of it on the bridge. So someone can give me a reason plus science roll with this is going to be difficulty 1, and your target number is a 12.
You can do it, Yong.
Oh, what do you want me to roll? Okay.
Your target number is a 12, and it's a difficulty 1. So you've got two dice to roll, and the ship can help as well. Someone can roll 1d20 for the ship. It's going to be sensors plus science, so that'll be an 11.
I got 12 and 13 here.
Ship doesn't help. I got a 20.
So you got 112, Jan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is the one success that you needed. So you, the science officer, Mr. Tulak, scans the area and finds that there don't appear to be any more life forms aboard that scout ship. In fact, it's so small, it's unlikely it ever had a very large crew complement. You're also picking up a couple of large energy readings. Both of them are increasing, are building. One is further into this sector, quite distant. The other appears to be coming from the scout ship.
So there's an energy reading building on the scout ship, and there's another one in the sector?
Yes, a much larger one in space, deeper into this sector.
Okay, what does the energy reading on the scout ship indicate then? The increasing energy reading. Are they heading for a warp core breach?
Yeah, Tulak thinks it's consistent with a warp core breach, perhaps an auto destruct.
Okay, Helm, back us off full impulse and forward shields to maximum.
Yeah. So a helmsman, you guys want to give a name to the helmsman? Yong, the last one.
Okay. Feinstein.
Feinstein?
Yep.
Okay. Ensign Feinstein, human helmsman, backs the venture off as the scout ship explodes. But the shields are up, and the venture was distancing itself, and you guys feel some deck kind of bucks underneath your feet, but it doesn't cause any serious harm to the vessel.
Good. So let's turn to the other energy reading that we've got, the one that's coming towards us. Does that appear to be another ship? And I'm guessing a much larger one.
Much larger. You've never seen a ship put out this kind of energy.
Uh-oh. Okay, just thinking here. Because this does not look good.
if you'd like, you've got 6 points of momentum. If you would like to spend a point of momentum to ask me a question about the sensor readings for further information, you can certainly try that.
Yeah, let's give that a shot. Let's see if we can get more information on this ship.
Okay, what kind of question would you like to ask?
Can we get an idea of the scale of the ship, as in scale compared with the size of our ship?
So as you, Captain Harriman, as you stride across the bridge and move the young junior science officer aside and look into his scopes, you think that these readings are probably more consistent with something on par of a space station, although even bigger than any starbase, Federation starbase you've seen before. And the energy readings are growing.
So in game terms, we're scale 4. This is going to be something like a 5 or a 6.
Beyond that.
Oh, okay.
Like a scale, like, I mean, you know, several times bigger than a Constitution class starship.
And how fast is it moving?
It is not moving.
Okay. Okay, at least we've got some breathing space then. Okay, let's carry out some more detailed long-range sensor scans and just see what else we can find out about this thing.
What are you? Do you want to spend more momentum to ask more questions?
If we get into asking individual questions, we're just going to be spending momentum like crazy.
You don't see any other ships or traffic.
Don't worry.
That's true. That's true.
You don't see any other ships or any other artificial traffic in the sector. Just it's you've got the Klingons on it that just blew up, and you've got what appears to be an enormous space station with some kind of power buildup going on more deeply into this sector of space.
Okay, well, let's spend a little bit of a momentum then and see if we can identify this power buildup. Does that look like it's some form of reactor breach, or are we talking about a weapon being powered up?
It looks. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say we'll spend a little bit more as well and see if we can pick up any life forms.
Sure. So you've got 3 momentum left. I will answer your question about the energy buildup first. It to be neither any kind of energy weapon, nor does it appear to be a warp core breach. It looks like pretty almost like a. It reads almost like a singularity, like a quantum singularity, but you don't get the sense that it's going to blow up or fire phasers at you.
Okay.
There are a few life signs on board this thing, but it's hard to get at this distance. It's hard to get a good fix on how many or what kind. But you would say, I mean, you know, fewer than 50. They're not really strong life signs.
Okay. Well, let's make sure that we're back to sort of normal status. Let's get a few replacement crew members on the bridge and get things back up to full crew, and then I think we'll go take a look.
Cool. So yeah, the Venture.
I'll give the brig a call and just see how the Klingons are doing it down there and how the Doctor's doing.
Dr. Ozil, you went with the Klingons?
Yep, gonna be doing doctors.
So you don't think that they are in mortal danger? You think you could probably revive them anytime that you wanted to, or you could continue to keep them sedated.
They're in the brig, all of that, so I'll let them just be able to get up on their own. But I'm just gonna make sure they're all fine, no like sort of thing, because you know, this is one of those Black Ops things, and they're deniable assets, all of that, and the spy game. But we're still Federation people. We have to help when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are able to see to the Klingons, make sure that they're not in any, that all of their physical needs are met, and you're satisfied that they are, that they are secure in the brig, but they're not going to die or anything.
Okay, cool.
Are they conscious?
They are not right now, but the doctor thinks he could safely wake them at any time if he wanted to.
Dr. Ozil, I believe I can interrogate them should they come out of their coma.
If you believe, yeah, if anything, we can get that going. I'll administer the sedative to get them up.
Very well, sir. And he restrains them, and so that they won't be able to just jump up and charge at us or anything like that.
We have a brig here. There's going to be a. Yes, there's no force fields yet, so it's going to be a plexiglass wall of aluminum, transparent aluminum.
No, they had the force fields in the original series. They just had the kind of bars that go across as well.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he opens the brig up and places them within, and says, "Dr. Ozil, they are ready for your treatment."
So then I administer the stuff, and let us see how Hando Han does the interrogation.
So yeah, Dr. Ozil, do you want to wake up both of them or just one of them?
One at a time.
Okay, one at a time, sure.
So Dr. Ozil administers a hypospray. There's a hiss, and a few moments later, one of the Klingons starts to move around slowly. He opens his eyes, and he glares at you and bares his teeth, Commander Han.
I understand that it is culture of Klingon to recognize when they have been beaten. Yes? And he glares at them. You have fought valiantly, and I have valiantly fought back.
You are a worthy opponent, Earther.
Then do me the honor of telling us why you're here and what your mission is.
I will tell you nothing.
I see. You have chosen to honor your mission objective. Very well. Perhaps your friend here will answer our questions. I shall separate you two. Should the words do not match, then you shall find trouble. And then he cracks his knuckle.
So if you want to get these Klingons to talk, Commander Han, it's going to take some kind of roll. And it sounds like you're trying to maybe intimidate him.
Yeah, he's going to try to intimidate them and essentially, coax them into telling them the truth. He's going to get one of his junior officers to play the good cop, and he's going to play the bad cop, basically.
Okay, so it's kind of like a deception.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a presence plus command roll, and I will oppose it with the Klingons' presence plus security, because I feel like they're in kind of like they still think of themselves in like a very sort of hostile situation. And you have... Go ahead, Yong.
I have interrogation as one of my focuses. Does that help at all?
Okay. Yes. So that will increase the critical success range. So anything that is equal to or less than your command discipline is a critical success.
All right.
And I'm going to roll for the Klingon now. And I said presence plus security. Okay. And they get 1 success.
13 and 10. I get 1 success as well. You said presence plus command, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to say with a tie, you are able to get a little bit from him, but not all that much. He says, I assume you weren't able to recover our ship because we set the auto-destruct before we beamed aboard. But we still have friends out there on the derelict.
Very well. How many friends do you have that would come to your rescue?
1,000 Klingon warriors, veterans of many battles.
What are you doing out here? And what is your objective in attacking the Federation starship?
We seize the derelict, and we know that you Earthers will try to take it from us.
Well, we have no reason to take away your ship. However, I shall speak with the captain.
Patak! It is not a ship. The derelict is not a ship.
It is a station? Ha! You
might
have given
call it
away
that.
more information than you had originally planned. That is enough. Rest and have some food. You shall recover quite quickly, and perhaps we shall go at it again once more another time.
I would love another chance to face you in combat, Earther. And he kind of swears under his breath in Klingon. But you get the sense he's not swearing at you. He's swearing at himself for being so foolish to give more information away than he intended.
Yeah, Hando approaches Dr. Ozil and says, he has indicated that he is not alone. There is 1,000 strong. These Klingons must be plotting something. And it seems perhaps it is the space station that is not too far away from here, sir.
So you're telling me that they're risking violating the terms of the Treaty of Organia just to check out this derelict?
Well, perhaps we should let the captain know.
Indeed. I think they would be operating independently, but the amount of Klingons on board, he says, seems to be a sort of bluff.
I believe it may be. But in any case, the indication that he has friends in that on that derelict does concern me quite a bit, sir.
It should, but I do not think it's going to be of that massive numbers. Unless, what do I know of like the standard crew complement of like the standard Klingon D7? Is it like 350?
I mean, it's roughly the size of a Constitution class. So you think 1,000 is definitely overshooting it? Yeah, I mean several hundred at most.
Yeah. So unless we were able to find traces of like several D7s, and they emptied their entire complements, yeah. We should be cautious and all of that, but I'll keep an eye on them and all as you report to the captain.
And then he flips up the communicator and says, Captain Harriman, we have gained some information and I will be coming up to the bridge, sir.
Very well. We're doing some long-range sensor scans of what appears to be a station. So let's meet in the conference room in 15 minutes and talk through what we've got.
Yes, Captain.
Okay.
So that's what we'll do.
All right. So that's that scene. Before we proceed to the next scene, I want to do a flashback. And so this scene will have the flashback trait, meaning you cannot take any actions that would create a time paradox that would somehow affect the scene that we just played out. So you got to promise me that. But we jump back about 7 or 8 months to a shuttle pod that takes off from Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco on Earth. The three of you are aboard. There is a junior grade lieutenant helmsman flying the shuttle, and it goes up outside the atmosphere of Earth, and it starts taking you toward a dry dock that is in orbit, geosynchronous orbit over San Francisco. The shuttle pod glides expertly through the branches of the dry dock, and slowly drifts along the hull of your new ship. The shuttle pod lingers near the saucer section, where you can see the words U.S.S. Venture, NCC 1537, painted on the hull. The shuttle pod then docks in the ship's main shuttle bay. A bosun's whistle sounds as you step onto the hull of your new ship, officially beginning your 5-year mission. What's going through your minds as this happens?
It's not a freighter.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much got a lump in my throat. I mean, I've served on quite a few ships before, but this is my first time in the big chair. So, yeah, this is kind of scary even for me. But I can't show that to anybody.
Yeah, does Captain Harriman, is there anything that lets those around him know that he feels this burden of command, or does he do his best to keep a calm demeanor?
Nope, I'm putting on a brave face. I'm greeting everybody, and I'm making my way directly to the bridge.
This is also a chance for you guys to maybe decide if your characters knew each other before this tour of duty, or if you're just meeting now on this shuttle pod.
Hando would be meeting the captain and the good doctor for the first time. I don't know about the two of them. And he says, "Captain, it is a great honor to be coming on board on this great ship with you."
Well, I'm going to be at least familiar with the doctor because I'll have read his file since he was assigned to my ship. But I wouldn't say that I've actually met him in person, other than possibly in passing.
And I'm just going to say this is my first time on an actual ship. It's been Starfleet facilities on ground, on planets. I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it's going to be like on a ship. We actually have gravity. I'm not going to be floating around all the time.
It is interesting.
We'll have a chat on our way to the bridge then, Doctor. Because yes, this is going to be a little bit different from your normal posting. We're going to be out there beyond the edge of known space for 5 years. I think that's pretty much what you call frontier medicine, isn't it?
I guess so. Doesn't hurt. Stations I got assigned to were basically the frontier as well.
Have you ever commanded a starship this large, Captain? Before?
I've worked on several ships this large before, but this is my first time in the hot seat, so I hope I'll be getting some support from you gentlemen.
Yes, sir. You can count on it.
And Chief, I'm particularly glad to have you aboard. I've studied your file, and your record is impressive.
Thank you, Captain.
So the doors of the turbolift swish open, and someone shouts out, "Captain on the bridge!" And for the first time, you see the bridge, Captain Harriman, of your starship under your command.
As you were, people. Carry on. I'll take a sort of tour of the bridge. I'll wander over and greet everybody, get some names, and then time to sit in the chair.
As the captain sits in the command chair for the first time, there is kind of a look of recognition as some of the other officers on the bridge, exchange glances like, this is real, this is happening, this mission is getting started. Commander Han and Dr. Ozil, how are you guys acting now that you are standing on the bridge?
There's a sort of an excitement. This is going to be along the lines of our first maiden voyage, all of that, but I'm also along the lines of how am I going to be able to get sick pay to something that would be up to a workable standard if I am going to be far away from any sort of resupplies.
Hando's nostrils flare up as he stands at his security station, looking around to see everything's as it should be. And he recalls the time that once he was a junior officer on U.S.S. Trenton when it was boarded by the hostile Romulans. And he says, "Never again. I will not fail my duty when others rely on me." He mumbles to himself and straightens up.
Awesome. Well, there is an Andorian science officer named Tulak who is standing at the science console, and he walks over and introduces himself to Captain Harriman, and then he said, "It's customary for you to maybe say a few words before we leave dry dock.
When are we due to leave? Is it like now, or an hour or a day from now?
We have received clearance from Starfleet to proceed on our mission.
Thanks, Miguel. Very well. I'll give the speech once we're out of dock. Helm, prepare for departure. Clear all moorings and 1/4 impulse ahead.
Yeah, Ensign Feinstein at the helm console says, "Aye, sir." And with a big grin on his face, he lays in the course and flips a switch. And the U.S.S. Venture gracefully starts to drift out of the dry dock, going straight ahead, and then banking off to the right. And you see Earth kind of drift out of the image on the view screen and starts to turn. You can see the moon as it passes by, and you guys are off into interstellar space.
Do we have any sort of standing orders about where to head first, or is it just like out there?
Yeah, so you guys will your exploratory mission is to go basically to the the galactic northwest quadrant, out beyond explored space.
Okay. Let's just have a quick. I'm just trying to have a quick look at a map and see what's out there.
Yeah, so if I don't know if you but like not that these directions really mean anything, but north of like the Cardassian space, the Sengethi coalition, north of that,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So we're heading out from Earth. Okay.
Is there anything you would like your characters to say or do before we flash back into the present?
I'll get the helm to lay in a course for kind of that general direction. Probably pick a star base that's out that way as a sort of last stop-off point before we head off into deep space.
You bet.
And then I will give the speech. I'll talk about how we have an impressive new ship and an equally impressive new crew, and how anything we meet out there, I'm sure we'll be able to handle with no problem at all.
Anybody else want to do or say anything?
Guess I am going to go check out the sick bay.
Hando is imagining hearing the words of the captain. He's thinking, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Venture. It's a 5-year mission. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys hear the warp engines start to whine, and they build and rise in pitch until the ship is at maximum warp and stars are flying by on the view screen. And we flash back to the present as you guys are in the conference room aboard the U.S.S. Venture, having 7 months on the mission so far and have passed into uncharted space. What's going on?
So, as Hando said, the Klingons apparently have found a derelict vessel, not a vessel, but a derelict object, and have fear that we are here to claim it from them. So, hence why they began to attack.
Is this our briefing? Sorry, I'm a little lost. Was this the briefing that I called in 15 minutes' time?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, correct.
All right, I'll get the report from the security chief as well about the 1,000 Klingon warriors.
Yep.
Which I will, of course, be skeptical about because, like you say, that's probably the crew of about 3 D7s, and it's unlikely that the Klingons have sent anything out, anything that size out this far. Chances are this is going to be some kind of an independent scout ship or a long-range scout more than anything. Did we get anything else out of them, Chief?
Well, considering that their attacking vessel was only a small shuttle, and the attacking crew only had a few, I do not believe that they are formidable in their ability to mount a defense.
I think that's probably right, Chief, but we'll take precautions, of course, when we reach this derelict.
I do advise not lowering the shields, but so if anything, a shuttle route might be the best option instead of transporters.
Yeah. On the other hand, if they manage to get the weapons on this derelict operational, they could shoot a shuttlecraft out of the sky without any problems at all.
And then they can also shoot down the starship as well.
Starship's got much better shields. Okay, let's.
Not the ability to repel energies of that magnitude, Captain. If we are reading, if the sensors are correct.
True. Okay, well, let's get in a little closer and see if we can do some more detailed sensor scans. I particularly want to focus on the weapons capability of this derelict, and if we can see how many life forms we can detect aboard. For the moment, we'll stay on a yellow alert with the shields up.
But the Venture is on a course for this station?
Yeah, is it like warp distances, or are we within impulse range?
A couple hours at warp.
Okay. We'll head there at probably warp 4. Keep it nice and steady.
Sure.
And we'll carry out sensor scans along the way.
Yeah, as you get closer, your sensors. We'll cut to the bridge. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do in the conference room.
Anything else, gentlemen?
None whatsoever, Captain.
The Klingons are very resilient to our interrogation, sir. I am unable to gain any further information from them.
Perhaps a different sort of way to open them up might be necessary.
What
do you suggest, Doctor?
Well, I'll try and find a way. Do not worry about that.
Okay. Let me know what you find.
Shall I go back to the brig and continue the interrogation, sir?
Let them stew for an hour or so, and then go and have a chat with them just before we get to the derelict. See if they've changed their minds at all, and we'll give the doctor a chance to try whatever he's going to try.
I do suggest that the security chief be ready at the tactical station so that he may be able to detect in case they do get this thing operational in the offensive sense.
Yeah, just make sure you're back on the bridge by the time we reach the derelict, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we cut to the bridge, and as you guys warp closer to whatever this object is, you're able to get some more in-depth sensor scans, and it looks like it is indeed an enormous space station that's roughly in the shape of a metallic kind of mushroom with this big bulbous cap that appears to be sensor scans indicate that it's hollow on the inside, and that looks like some kind of living area of some sort. Any kind of from the structure of it, from the design of it, it doesn't match any civilization in Federation records.
Can we do an assessment of tactical capability, weapons, shields?
Yes. So either Commander Han or one of your science officers, Mr. Tulak, could do another sensor scan since you're much closer now than you were the first time.
I have shipboard tactical systems. Shipboard tactical systems focus.
Okay. Yep, that'll apply. So if you give me either reason or control plus security roll, you can conduct difficulty 1. You can conduct a sensor scan to size up the defensive capabilities of this ship.
Okay.
And someone can roll for the ship for the venture as well.
I'll roll for the ship.
All right. I failed on both accounts.
Oh, the
Which is
ship
gonna be-
succeeded, but that doesn't do us a lot of good, does it?
I rolled 2 17s, so I needed to get it over 15.
Oops.
Oh no. Well, at least the ship got one success.
Yeah, but it doesn't count unless he succeeds.
Guys,
Does Tulak succeed?
sorry guys, I dropped out there for a second. What did you say, Yong?
I rolled 2 17s, so I failed. Does Tulak succeed?
Who's doing the main role? Is it Tulak or you?
Hondo's doing the main role, but someone can roll for the ship, which is going to be sensors plus security for a score of 11.
Yep, I rolled for the ship and succeeded, but I don't think my role counts unless he succeeds in his main role, does it?
Oh yeah, is that the rule? Is that right?
Yeah, I think unless the character succeeds, gets at least one
Gets one
success from
success.
their role, then the assist doesn't matter.
Okay.
Could I invoke value and try it again, or get an
What
extra one?
value? What value would you use?
He would use, I will not fail my duty when others rely on me.
Okay, so ordinarily, using a value only kind of allows you to use your determination, which you've already used for this session. But if you give me some kind of role playing hook, I'll allow him to try it again. So the first scan fails. What is Commander Han? How does he respond?
He looks at that result and says, "A ship or a station this big cannot be without proper tactical defenses. I must be doing this wrong. I must not fail like I did in the previous encounter on U.S.S. Trenton." And he punches in again.
Okay, go ahead and make that roll again. And Paul,
And
you can roll for the ship.
D20.
The captain will just put a hand gently on his shoulder and just say, "Chief, take your time, take it easy."
Yes, Captain. Thank you. And this time I rolled a 9, so he succeeds.
Okay.
Ship succeeded as well.
Okay, so you generate a point of momentum. You now have 4 in your bank. So, Commander Han, the first time you scanned the ship, you didn't detect any kind of armament or defensive systems, and you assumed that must be a mistake. And so you conduct the scan over again, worried that you must have done something wrong the first time. It turns out you did not. You are certain that this enormous space station with some kind of giant power buildup at its core does not have any defensive systems. You don't see anything that would indicate weaponry or shields or anything of that nature.
Yeah, he looks to the captain and says, "Captain, I do not detect any shields or any other tactical measures from the space station. I had thought that since our aggressors are Klingons that I was mistaken the first time, but the second scan yields that I was not incorrect."
Good. And do we have any other ships on sensors at all?
None.
Okay. We're going to take a chance here. Helm, bring us to within transporter range.
Yep, that takes only moments. And as the Venture draws closer to this enormous space station, you are impressed by the sheer scale of this thing. It absolutely dwarfs your Constitution-class starship. And as you get closer, you also notice that the cap of this mushroom that appears to be the main living area, the metal on its exterior is actually covered in some kind of biomimetic tissue that's almost like living biomatter. And you suspect that somehow captures ambient radiation in space that might act as like a power source.
Interesting. Do we have a breathable atmosphere inside?
Yes.
Okay. Chief, do you want to grab a few of your security people, and we'll put together an away team and head over there. And I'll give the doctor a call on the intercom as well and see if he wants to join us.
Yes, Captain.
It looks like this station may have some sort of biological properties, Doctor. We may need your help over there in any analysis.
Okay, understood.
Okay, transporter room 1, away we go.
Okay,
I'll detail somebody to take over the bridge and tell them that while we're away, they should stay in contact with us, but keep shields raised just in case.
okay. Who is going on this landing party? The ship. So I assume that the big three, the 3-player characters, the ship has a scale of 4, which means you can use up to 4 NPCs from the supporting cast. You've used 2 so far, in Mr. Tulak and Ensign Feinstein. So you can take 2 more on this landing party if you like.
We can potentially take 3. I have the supervisor talent, which gives us a +1 crew support.
I'm sorry, say that again. My daughter came in to say goodnight.
Bye, good night. I've got the supervisor talent, so we get +1 crew support. So we've got 3 left.
Okay, cool. So who do you want to go?
Unless anybody's got any suggestions, I think a couple of security guards along with the chief, the doctor, and myself.
Okay.
Oh, possibly a science officer? Or are you happy to fill that role, Doctor?
Would be very beneficial.
Okay. Well, we'll bring along, just so we've got 1 in reserve, we'll bring along the chief, 1 security guard, and 1 science officer, and the doctor.
Okay, so the 3 of you, a security officer and a science officer.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay, you've got a science officer and Mr. Tulak, the Andorian. You want to take Ensign Tulak?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Is that going to be enough security people for you, Chief?
Yes, sir. I will take Lieutenant Langdon with me.
Okay.
Okay, and Langdon.
Phaser 2s and communicators, and yeah, transporter room 1.
Okay. So you guys head over to the transporter, and the transporter effect envelops the 5 of you, and you appear inside an enormous chamber that is bristling with strange bioelectric machinery. It's completely foreign to you. You've never seen anything quite like it in this expansive chamber. You're greeted by some kind of spherical machinery that hovers in the air, maybe about the size of a basketball, and it hovers around you in like 360 degrees for a few seconds, and then it kind of disappears behind a bank of equipment, and behind where this probe went is an elderly, appearing to be a Vulcan male. And he strides up to you and gives you the Vulcan salute, and he says, "Live long and prosper. Greetings, visitors."
I'll return the salute and the greeting and say, I'm Captain Robert Harriman of the Federation Starship Venture. Can I ask who you are?
Do you not recognize me from your history books? The 3 of you can give me a reason plus science roll with a difficulty of 1. And you have 4 points of momentum at your disposal, if you so choose.
Okay, I made the roll.
Yep, I can manage 1 success.
Okay.
I got 2 successes, so I made the DC.
Okay. So you generate a point of momentum. Dr. Ozil, you know Vulcan history well enough to recognize this person standing in front of you appears to be the great philosophical mind of philosophers in the history of the Federation, and long dead.
Forgive me, I believe I recognize who you are intended to be, but I don't understand how you could possibly be here. The
Yes,
real Surak has been dead for some time.
yes, of course, Captain. I see that you are a student of history. This is simply a telepathic projection. I'm actually a mechanical probe, but we thought that this would help you feel more welcome here on our station before Searchlight decides whether she would like to meet you in person.
Pardon me, Searchlight?
Yes, Searchlight.
And who may this person be?
This station, it belongs to Searchlight. She is the reason it exists.
And are we going to meet Searchlight?
Perhaps. Searchlight has not yet decided.
What is the purpose of this space station?
That is for Searchlight to explain. That is not my. But come, follow me.
Okay.
And Surak starts to walk toward what looks to be some kind of building with a doorway.
Okay, I guess follow him.
That we do.
This telepathic projection of Surak leads you into this building, which is sheltered from this larger expansive chamber that you were in just a minute ago. And inside, you are astounded to see an enormous array of ancient texts and artifacts, some of them from cultures you recognize, but most of them from cultures that are completely foreign to you. In fact, if one of you would like to, for your character, come up with some kind of interest that they have in history, they can find an artifact in this museum that they recognize that might be important to them. Does anyone have anything they would like to shout out?
I've got a focus of interstellar law and politics, so there might be something in there.
Like what?
Perhaps a book or some kind of document, some kind of declaration, something along those lines. You know, like the Federation Charter, the original copy of that.
Sure. Yeah. So not probably one of the. There were probably several copies made of the original Federation Charter, and there is one here, quite valuable, quite rare. Unknown how it might have ended up on a space station out here in uncharted space.
Am I able to stop and take a look at it?
Please. That is why we have these objects, for study.
Impressive. And is it an original, do you know?
Not the original, but among the first to be made.
Something you obtained from Federation Space, yes? Or did you make a copy of it?
Searchlight has traveled widely.
Interesting. Can I ask you, Mr. Surak, for want of a better name, in the Federation, and particularly in Starfleet, we're used to dealing with all kinds of alien cultures. Would it be possible for you to show us what you really look like?
You saw me when you first entered the chamber.
The probe?
Yes. Would it make you more comfortable if I assumed my original appearance?
Well, as I say, we in Starfleet, we prefer to see things as they are, and we have no fear of alien cultures. So please.
This representation of Surak cocks an eyebrow and says, "An enlightened point of view, Captain." And there is a shimmering effect in your vision, and Surak is replaced with this mechanical orb that seems to kind of float in front of you.
Thank you. And do you have a designation other than Surak? Or should we just refer to you by that name?
You can still refer to me as Surak. And this time it's like more of a mechanical voice, robotic voice.
Thank you. We appreciate the honesty.
I am programmed with his complete corpus and many of his personality algorithms.
Impressive. Can I ask how you obtained those?
Searchlight has traveled widely.
Seems to be the standard answer, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, carry on. Take us to wherever you were taking us.
So Searchlight, not Searchlight, the probe leads you back outside into this expansive chamber. And as you guys, as the landing party steps outside, you hear a commotion as heavy boots start thudding in your direction. How do you respond?
Han's gonna motion to the security officer, Langdon. He's gonna say, "Phasers, son."
I'll just kind of hold out my hand in front of the chief and just say, "Stand ready, chief, but don't take any action. I want to see how our friend handles this."
Yes, Captain.
And so coming around a corner into view are 4 Klingon warriors. One of them appears to be particularly large and in the lead. And he shouts at you when he sees your Starfleet uniforms. He says, "We have conquered this station for the Empire. It is a trophy of war."
I'll not necessarily shout, but raise my voice back at him and just say, this doesn't appear to be your station at all. I believe it belongs to Searchlight. We're here on a peaceful mission of discovery and exploration. We have no desire to enter into any conflict with you.
So the Klingon spits, peaceful mission, and they raise their daggers and their batleths, and they charge at you.
Hando's gonna shoot him.
You do have the highest daring score. If you would like to do that, we can go into combat order.
I'm going to take a chance.
Okay.
Chief, belay that order. Hold still.
Yes, Captain.
And what is the plan, Captain Harriman?
I want to see what Searchlight and Surak do. I don't want to take any aggressive action here unless we absolutely have to.
Yes, we are guests on board, and they too are guests, so it depends on how they want to do this.
Exactly.
Okay. Captain Harriman, you have the value, something out there is calling. And that definitely comes into play here as you feel clearly the image of Surak was you think it was a telepathic projection, and there is something in contact with you telepathically with all of you, something just kind of on the very periphery of your minds, and you get the sense that it is not warlike or hostile. And so this large Klingon charges at you with his batleth at the ready, and he swings it at your throat. I would like you to give me, Captain Harriman, a presence plus command roll as you try to kind of keep your composure in this quite threatening situation. And this is going to be a difficulty 3 roll.
Oh boy.
Do we have momentum?
You have 5 points of momentum. And Captain Harriman, did you use your determination?
Yes, I used it back on the bridge. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have
Nice.
You have 5 points of momentum.
Okay.
Presence plus command, and you can also pay me threat for additional dice too. You can get up to 3 additional dice.
And how much momentum can I burn?
So you've got 5 points, so you could get if you added in 1 point of threat, you could get all 3 dice. If you spent all of your momentum plus pay me 1 point of threat. You could have 5 dice.
Yeah. We're talking difficulty 3. I'll just grab I'll grab the 1 extra dice and take a chance.
Okay, cool.
You can just do 2 dice for momentum.
Sorry?
You can do 2 dice for momentum. That'll be 3 momentum spent.
Yes, if you spent an additional 2 points of momentum,
true.
then you could have four total d20s.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay.
So, I'm aiming for 15, 3 successes.
Okay, you got it. Captain Harriman, describe for me how you were able to keep your composure without batting an eye as this Klingon swings his bat'leth at your throat.
I'll just look him in the eye, and as he swings it, I will dodge out of the way, so he's not actually going to contact me. But other than that, I'm going to take no action. I'm just going to stand up to him, look him straight in the eye as he charges me.
Yeah, so you take absolutely 0. I mean, you defend yourself, but you take 0 offensive action, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to leave that up to the chief. I know I told him to hold fire, but I'll leave it up to him now.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's charging at him with a bat'leth about to cut off his head, he's gonna, spring into action and, try to deflect it so that he wouldn't get hit.
Okay, so Commander Han, you start to move toward your captain, but he is radiating this sense of calm, this conviction that this is not as threatening a situation as it appears, and he is right. This probe emits a beam that freezes the 4 Klingons in their place. They basically look like statues, and the bat just stops in an instant. And this probe, in its robotic voice, says, "You did not come here to conquer, as these did."
Not at all. We're explorers. We came here to study and understand.
Cold sweat runs down his face.
Right about now, the captain's got something else running down his inside leg, but...
This, too, is Searchlight's goal. Searchlight will see you now. Will you open your mind to her?
I will. Can I ask, will the Klingons be harmed at all?
No, that is not Searchlight's way.
Good. We'd prefer that they not be.
If anything else, if they have means to get back to their ship, but if they don't, we might have to transport them through our ship.
Good point, Doctor. Good point.
Yes, but this also means is we will need to stop at a local starbase so that they can handle the diplomatic proceedings with this.
Well, let's see how the meeting with Searchlight goes first.
Yeah, this probe also turns to Commander Han and to Dr. Ozil and says, "Will you open your mind to Searchlight?"
Sure.
As a security chief, I cannot.
Your choice, gentlemen. This is a volunteer action only.
I do promise that I will stand down, but I do not feel comfortable having something else enter into my mind.
Then, Commander Han, you will have to remain here.
I was going to say, I'll turn back to the probe and just ask if that's acceptable. In the Federation, we prefer that each individual be given their own choice in these matters.
That is acceptable.
You and me then, Doctor.
Your orders, Captain?
Hold here. Try not to take any aggressive action unless you're attacked.
I will keep my eyes on these Klingons, sir.
And if we're not back in 1 hour, then return to the ship.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Is there anything you need to do to prepare yourselves for whatever telepathic link Searchlight is about to initiate?
I think just a little calm, just try and kind of center ourselves. I don't know if they're going to talk to me first, Doctor, or if they're going to talk to us both at the same time. But if it's me first, then I'd be obliged if you could monitor my medical status.
We shall see when it comes to that. Do not worry.
Okay. So you guys, Dr. Ozil, experience a lightning flash in your minds, and you are suddenly transported someplace else entirely. But before we get there, we're going to do another flashback. But before we get there, would you guys object to a 5-minute break?
Nope.
Nope. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So let's be back in 5 minutes, and we'll do another flashback, and then we'll find out what happens with Searchlight.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Is everybody else back?
Yep.
Paul? Paul might not be. Just trying to make sure I've got all of my notes for the final act of this scenario.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, awesome. So just a quick recap. You guys have set out on a 5-year mission aboard the U.S.S. Venture into unknown space. You received a distress signal from a scout ship, and when you lowered your shields to beam the survivors from the scout ship aboard, it turns out it was a trick, and a bunch of Klingons beamed aboard the Venture's bridge and tried to take over. You guys fought them off and took a couple of them prisoner, they're now in your brig. They told you that that their ship had discovered some kind of derelict, and that they had sent a bunch of Klingons aboard the derelict. You guys have discovered what you think is the derelict. It's an enormous space station that strangely has no defensive capabilities or weapons of any kind. You beamed a landing party aboard and discovered a mechanical probe who assumed the form of Surak and showed you around a little bit. And you were confronted by Klingons who were also exploring this space station. When the Klingons attacked you, Captain Harriman showed his nerves of steel and sensed that if he didn't attack back, he would get in on the good side of this searchlight, this entity that seems to be in control of the space station. He was correct. And the probe froze these Klingon attackers like statues and said, "It's now okay. The searchlight wants to meet you." And so Captain Harriman and Dr. Ozil open your minds for telepathic contact with whatever this searchlight entity is. But first, let's flash back about a week ago. This scene is going to be largely improvised. I would like you guys to come up with some kind of routine that occurs aboard the Venture that the three of you would have to work together on, and that there will be some kind of like unforeseen obstacle that you guys, the three of you, will have to overcome together. So this is going to be kind of a team building opportunity. So if any of you could please shout out an objective that the three of you will have to work on together.
Emergency mock drill in case of a battle.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not. This is Hondo's day, it seems, where he wants everyone to be ready in case. And he keeps mentioning a starship known as the Trenton. Can't let the Trenton ever happen again.
Yes, indeed. Okay, yeah, so a battle drill, like a starship battle drill?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be running a few drills on our way out to the frontier. So yeah, battle drills will be included in that. And I think medical drills as well for you, Doctor.
Well, it's going to be lots of drills then.
Well, aside from heading out there, we've got pretty much nothing else to do right now. So let's make sure that we're in tip-top shape, ready for anything.
Yeah, so it's announced over the ship intercom that this is a drill. This is only a drill. But then the red alert kicks in, and a simulated spaceship appears on everyone's scopes, and you guys are carrying out a battle drill. Tell me what you guys, how your characters are responding to this situation.
Well, in this particular drill, I'm actually not going to take any part. I want to see what happens to the bridge and how the bridge crew handle it when the captain is disabled.
Does the console still explode?
Consoles always explode.
Those things are made by the most lowest bidder possible. So even if you tap it wrong.
I've always liked the fact that they run off plasma. You're going to run plasma behind a console? Really?
Behind a very thin layer of plastic.
Anyway, yes, For this particular drill, for the purposes of this drill, the captain is going to have been disabled by his captain's chair exploding.
In a plasma fire.
In a plasma fire. He's actually a little nervous that they put a plasma conduit under his chair, but there you go.
Does Commander Han assume command then?
Well, that's what I'm going to find out. I'm not going to announce that I'm going to be disabled beforehand. I'm going to announce it at the time. So I want to see who takes control of the bridge and how do the rest of the bridge crew handle it.
Okay, very good. Dr. Ozil, I'm assuming Commander Han will be on the bridge because he's the tactical officer. Dr. Ozil.
More importantly, by the time the announcement gets going, I was actually trying to move the microscope in a much more better position, but it's one of those, do I want on the right-hand side or the left-hand side? And then the announcement goes off, I'm like, oh, okay, time to get serious.
So yeah, more importantly, I want to see if anybody calls a medical team to the bridge to tend to the captain.
You're going to be surprised. No one does.
I hope they do, but
yeah. I mean, as soon as the explosion takes place and Captain Robert is incapacitated, Hando is going to say, "Security." He's going to tell Lieutenant Langdon, which we brought in earlier. He's going to say, "Mr. Langdon, please take the captain to the medical sickbay immediately. Ensure that he's secured and in recovery." And he's going to do whatever possible to actually not to wage the combat, but to get to the safety as quickly as possible. So he's going to, request the ensign to take us out of there, maximum shield, maximum warp speed, and he's going to flee the battlefield as quickly as possible.
So Commander Han, you are assuming the center seat then? And start ordering everyone.
Yeah, I mean, he is a commander in rank, so I guess that's like number one.
So I mean, in the back of your mind,
do I have a first officer?
You tell me, Captain Harriman.
Interesting question. Apparently, at the moment, I don't. That may be something I need to look into.
That's 7 months.
Well, let's see how Commander Han handles this situation. In the back of your mind that this is a drill, that the captain is not really in mortal danger. But being that as it may, how does Commander Han feel about being in command of a starship?
He feels nervous. I mean, he's at home, like as a security retainer to make sure that people are safe and, his commanding officer is safe. But he doesn't relish the captain's chair at all. But, considering that his priority, is to secure that everyone's safe, he wants to ensure that the casualty is kept at minimum. And, I mean, he's by the book guy. So if it's required that he takes, command and actually wage the battle, if that's the instruction that the captain has relayed him before, then that's what he's going to do. Otherwise, he's going to, try to disengage and make sure that everyone's safe.
Okay. Commander Han, give me a presence plus command roll to see how assuredly you assume command in this situation. This is going to be difficulty 2. It's not like super difficult because this is just a drill, but it's not like your ordinary everyday situation.
I got 7 and 8. Ooh, luckily, that's a success.
All right, well done. So you are pretty smooth and in control when you start barking orders in this crisis situation, and the crew snaps to attention. They focus on their jobs, and the helmsman starts to set in a course to pull the Venture out of danger, out of the combat area, without a moment's hesitation. Let's cut to sickbay and see what Dr. Ozil is doing. What are you doing in a drill like this?
Well, I'm trying to get everything in order. People that are reporting in wounded are getting moved and all of this. And it's just, it's a sort of trying to organize a chaotic situation. And then the captain comes down. And then I have to have the captain plop down and then try to administer a placebo hypo, all of that. Order a couple of nurses around, other doctors. Does anything explode? Because you said it to explode, Captain, in here.
I'll make sure that the security guards that Commander Hand detailed goes to sickbay, but I'm going to stay on the bridge. I need to observe what's going on up there. But for all intents and purposes, yes, I've been taken down to sickbay.
You hear the communication coming from Hando Han, and he says, Captain, we are out of the melee engagement zone, and just wanted to check on the status, sir.
Well, I'm still on the bridge, technically speaking.
That's when he turns around and notices.
Nope. Yep.
I never left.
Excellent.
So here's the thing, guys: is something has to happen to complicate the situation, to take it in an unexpectedly sinister direction. So what happens that is unexpected for this battle drill? That's going to be the complication that you guys are going to have to.
The complication is that something really went wrong in engineering.
And that at the same time, there actually is a real attack.
I'm good with either of those.
Or both of them.
Let's go with a malfunction in engineering. I like that idea because I don't have a good idea for what starship might attack out of nowhere right now. Caught me with my pants down.
Yes, you just hear the engineering talking about how he had to do an action roll to get out of engineering and seal the gates. It's kind of bad. Apparently, what we had to do with your chair set off something.
Yep. So, do we get a call from engineering at all?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some kind of coolant leak down here, Captain. This is for real.
Okay, I'll get back in the chair, which I think should still be intact since this was only a drill.
Right.
I'll call off the red alert and end the drill, and damage control teams to main engineering.
Give me. So now this is suddenly a real crisis. I'm going to spend 2 threat to cause a complication. That the coolant leak caused engineering to be at least temporarily evacuated. That there's no one in there right now, and someone, some young ensign says, I think he's on the comm up to the bridge, and he says, there's some people in there. I think there's some serious injuries in there, but everyone had to clear out, Captain. You might want to get down here.
Okay. I'll hand the bridge over to... Who did I hand it over to before? Was it Langdon?
Yep.
Yep, I'll hand the bridge over to Langdon. Chief, can you come with me? I might need your help. And we'll head down to engineering.
And I'll head down to engineering when there's reports of wounded.
Yep.
Cool. So you guys race to main engineering, and you're met with a young engineer, an ensign, and he says, the chief was in there when the coolant exploded. I don't know how we could have survived. There are several other people in there. I don't know how they're doing. We vented as much of the coolant as we can. We think it's probably safe to go back in there.
Okay, let's have a damage control team stand by out here, and let's get these doors open and see what's inside.
So yeah, he cranks the door open, and you see that there are most of the consoles are no longer powered. There is a large plasma fire that has erupted from behind one of the consoles, and you see that there are probably a couple of engineers who are too far gone, too badly burned to save. But Dr. Ozil, you see someone who is still clinging to life.
Well, then I'm going to rush down and get that going. First responder.
Yep, this will be a daring plus medicine roll, difficulty 1.
Okay. I got 2 success and a 20. Well, we're going to say there's another explosion that's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so you get your 1 point of momentum as you stabilize.
I had to cross a bridge, and the bridge just breaks. So it's along the lines of, I can't even get back to safety.
Actually, I love that. That's brilliant. Thank you, Dr. Ozil. Yeah, so you race across a catwalk near the warp core to save this engineering officer who is working there. You stabilize them, but yeah, there's another plasma explosion. There's now 2 fires that have ignited in main engineering, and this catwalk crashes, and you are stuck on the other side. So what are Captain Harriman and Commander Han doing in this crisis?
I'm going to start by directing the damage control teams into engineering to take care of these fires. So I guess that'll be my first action.
Yeah, so engineering teams scurry into the area, and they've got some kind of fire suppressing equipment, and they put out the 2 plasma fires. But there is still the problem of your 2 officers on the far side of this catwalk, one of whom is in bad medical shape.
Okay. Is the chief doing anything while I do my first action, or do you want me to go again?
Yeah, Chief is directing, others from the security personnel to drag out the people that are incapacitated as quickly as possible. And seeing the doctor actually stranded on the other side, Hando is going to personally go in there and try to, rescue him.
How's he going to do that?
How far is the gap between the from the break of the catwalk?
I'm going to say it's like maybe like 20 meters, and there's like currents of plasma going through like the bottom of this pit. That's why that catwalk is set on top of it. So if you fall, it's going to do some serious damage to you.
Yeah, he's going to ask the other guys to get the emergency ladder as quickly as possible to bridge the gap between. And he's going to ask, some of his fellow men to shut down the power system so that it would cut off the current and all these spark.
Okay.
And
setting up that ladder is going to require a control plus, I'm going to say security, because this is like I'll give you either control or daring plus security, as you have to like crank out this ladder and get it on a pretty small platform to allow these guys to get across.
Yeah, my daring plus security is 16, and I rolled 12 and 8, so both succeeded.
Okay, so there is now a portable ladder connecting main engineering to this platform, and the plasma has been shut down, but Dr. Ozil, you still have an injured crewman with you.
Yes, the priority is to get the injured crewman out. My safety is secondary. So, let us see here. Is there any sort of emergency ropes and all of that?
What do you want to do?
Well, I actually want to get this guy to the other side and ensure that security gets him instead of, quickly.
Yeah, so you can try to carry him.
Okay, time to get that going.
Okay, that's going to be fitness plus security, I think.
Cool.
With a difficulty of 2.
I'm going to spend a momentum for 3 dice, and let us go. Okay, that is, I needed to get a 9, and I got a 9 and a 5 with an 11, so barely made it.
Okay. So, shakily, 1 foot in front of the other, you hoist this injured crewman on your shoulder, Dr. Ozil, and you inch your way across this ladder. And at one point, you kind of lose your balance. Whoa, whoa! And Captain Harriman, what do you do when you see your doctor and this crewman start to lose their balance on this catwalk?
Well, for the most part, I'm focused on the damage control teams, but I will kind of see what's happening out of the corner of my eye. And when I see the doctor start to lose his balance, I'm going to run over and help him. See if I can catch him.
Yeah, so you reach out. Yeah, you absolutely do. He succeeded on the roll, so I'm not going to send him off the catwalk to his death. But you reach out and you grab him, and you pull both Dr. Ozil and the injured crewman back over to your side to safety.
You okay, Doc?
I'm fine. We need to make sure this guy's stabilized, but I need to get him to sick bay right away.
Okay, carry on.
So it appears that you guys are out of immediate danger, but I'm curious what you think caused the coolant leak in these plasma fires in the first place.
I think that's going to be down to the chief engineer and the security chief to try and figure out. I need to know if this was an accident or was this some kind of deliberate attempt to sabotage our mission. Not that I'm paranoid, you understand, but you never know.
Or they're just death traps.
Yeah, I'm going to say the chief engineer died in the plasma fire. So you're going to need a new chief engineer. Not that we had a name for that one anyway.
Okay, we'll have to make up a name for the
There's
new
a
one.
huge turnover rate for that position.
But we can get to that later. Commander Han, how would you go about investigating the cause of this crisis?
So once things settle down, he begins, checking the console records and reviews the video of people that are accessing the area where this could have triggered this type of an accident, and essentially, like, arson investigation, so on and so forth. And he starts interviewing folks as well.
Okay, you can give me either insight or presence plus security, and it's going to be a difficulty 2 task.
Okay,
You
insight
got
is
2
9.
points of momentum to spend if you want to.
He's going to spend 1 momentum.
Okay.
And 9 and 8 already. I got 2 successes.
Okay. So Yong, I'm going to let you decide whether this can either be just a simple result of a newly refitted starship that hadn't gone through enough testing, or maybe there's something suspicious going on here. I'm going to leave that up to you.
Well, actually, he's gonna review it, and he'll find out that one of the junior engineers were, messing with it, but apparently they probably weren't. He probably wasn't familiar enough with the systems and caused a little accident unintentionally.
Yeah. Let's give this junior engineer a name, because he's gonna, or she is gonna, have some real guilt on their conscience.
Barley.
Barley?
Barley.
Got a first name? Or is that a first name?
John Barley.
John Barley. Okay, Lieutenant JG John Barley, a junior engineer who's now gone through the tragic situation of his carelessness resulted in a serious crisis that killed the chief engineer. Captain Harriman, how would you handle something like that?
Okay, well, amongst other things, I'm going to have to try and find a new chief engineer. So I'll go back and review some files and probably pick one of the next highest ranked people in engineering. As for crewman Barley, I'll have a little chat with him with the doctor present and with the security chief present as well. So not quite like a sort of hearing. This is not a court martial. This appears to have been an accident, but let's get his version of events as well. And if it was, from his point of view, simply an accident as well, then I'll recommend to him that he receive more training from the chief engineer and probably some counselling from the doctor as well. How does he feel about it?
He says, Captain, I don't know how I can go back to engineering ever again.
Oh, that's very much your choice, Mr. Bartley. All I can do is provide you with all the support that you will need should you want to resume your career in engineering. Failing that, I will help you in whatever way I can on board the ship. But should you wish to leave, then that again is your choice. I believe in situations like this, although it was a tragic circumstance, I believe it was an accident, and that you should learn from this with the help of the new engineer and with the doctor.
He looks at you. He looks at you with tears welling up in his eyes, and he says, "Captain, do you honestly think? Do you think I can come back from this?"
Well, that's entirely up to you, Mr. Bartley. All the rest of the senior officers and I can do is provide you with all the support that you'll need.
Okay, well then, I've got some thinking to do, Captain.
You do. In the meantime, I strongly suggest you take some counselling with the doctor, and you take a temporary leave of absence.
I will, Captain. Yes, sir.
You
okay with that, Doctor?
Yes, I am. Anything? This should be along any time that Bartley feels is necessary to have. So we'll schedule the first appointment whenever possible.
Okay. So we've now got a junior engineer with who's gone through this tragic experience and wants to find a way to rebuild his career and move forward. I think that could be a good story to explore in the future. But for now, we will cut back to the present. Actually, before that, as Lieutenant Barley leaves the conference room, Captain Harriman, you get a message from the bridge.
Okay.
And it is the science officer, Mr. Tulak, and he says, Captain, we have just moved beyond communication range with Starbase 305. We are now in completely uncharted space. We're on our own now. I just thought you should know.
Looks like Mr. Barley's options just decreased. Okay, thanks.
Do you guys have any further response, reaction, now that the venture is truly in uncharted space?
Resupply is going to be very difficult.
Certainly not an auspicious start to the mission, but I think we've got the crew that can bounce back from it.
Well, Captain, what do you think we will find out there?
I don't know. And that's where the fun lies.
It's some exciting time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, go ahead, Yong.
I review the record of Lieutenant Junior Grade Barley. It seems like he had impeccable record before, but I do believe that everything that has happened is purely by mistake. I don't believe there's any reason to be suspicious of the fella.
From what you've found, I believe you're right there, Security Chief, but just on the off chance, I think we ought to take a personal interest in Mr. Barley, all three of us.
Yes, sir.
Well, just to ensure that it doesn't truly happen again, what to ensure is he's going to be able to handle this, because it's going to be very difficult to get him back to Starbase.
I'm going to be particularly relying on your opinion, Doctor. If you don't think that he's able to handle the situation emotionally, then I need you to let me know immediately.
I do suggest is to give him a couple of weeks away from engineering, so he'll be helping at sickbay for a bit.
Well, Doctor, I gotta say, that was some daring move that you pulled back there. I've never seen a doctor spring into action like that before.
Well, I am a doctor first and a Starfleet officer second. So anyone that is in trouble, I do have to go straight into it.
Nevertheless, I think it's worth a mention in the official record.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. So we will cut that scene and skip ahead another week as Captain Harriman and Dr. Ozil, you have given your permission to go into telepathic contact with whatever this searchlight entity is. And you feel this bright light envelop you, and suddenly you are transported somewhere else entirely. You realize you are standing next to a rowboat on the shore of a pristine lake under a clear night sky. An aurora swirls overhead, casting a green glow across the sky. Looking out across the water, a small island shines with bright light at the center of the lake. And suddenly you realize that you're not alone, that this Surak, or at least this telepathic projection of Surak, is standing with you. And he points out toward that island and he says, "Searchlight awaits you there."
Oh, Doctor, looks like we've got some rowing to do.
Yep. Well, at least I was able to do some of this back on Earth. Let's go.
I suppose the good news is that all this involves really is mental effort.
You get your determination back for that quip. So I imagine you get into the boat and row.
Yep.
So
is it like a small rowboat? Have we got room to sit side by side, or should I just sit at the back and call to the doctor to row?
Whichever you prefer, Paul.
No, I'll row with him.
You are the captain.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I'm kind of a hands-on captain, so I'll row.
Row, you scallywags. Row.
Meanwhile, you demand that the kitchen on the ship constantly delivers food to you on your bridge.
Well, I was thinking as well, besides, the doctor is the one that's going to heal me if anything happens to me, so I'd kind of like him on my side.
Yeah, it's a good thing this isn't the mirror universe.
In actual point of fact, you two guys are ideal, because the two people that you don't want to upset are the security guard and the doctor.
Hopefully.
So you guys row out to this island in the middle of the lake, and the rowing is quite easy. The water is really calm, and the scene is really quite picturesque. And you get to this strangely glowing island, and awaiting you on the shore of this island is a vaguely humanoid female-looking figure, but she's taller than the average human, thinner than the average human. She has no hair, and much of her body looks to you to be made of mechanical components. And she says, "I welcome you, fellow explorers."
Thank you. I'm assuming you are Searchlight?
I am. I have traversed time and space and dimension. My travels have taught me that solitude is the greatest teacher of all. I built this place to contemplate all I have learned. That process is nearly complete.
And I assume you've also learned a lot about the Federation and Starfleet, and you know of our mission?
I know of your mission. I have encountered Starfleet and many of your member worlds in my travels.
Then you know we're explorers, and that you are precisely the kind of life form that we are out here to meet.
I know that you are explorers of the cosmos, and you will find many answers among the cosmos, but you will not find the answer. The true final frontier awaits you in the depths of your own minds.
That's pretty deep. Well, for the moment, I think we could certainly learn from you if you're willing to teach us.
I'm afraid that my time here grows short, but it has been a pleasure to speak with you. I have enjoyed your visit.
And Klingons aside, we've enjoyed meeting you. I do hope that we meet again at some point in the future.
Yes, the Klingons, the conquerors that you speak of. Would you mind if I transported them aboard your vessel with the others?
There are no other vessels nearby, are there? We're heading out into deep space, and the Klingons, well, they are an aggressive species that we've come across several times. It would be my preference not to have them aboard my ship, but I'm assuming they don't have any other means of leaving here now that their ship has been destroyed.
She cocks her head as if in thought and says, I suppose I could take them with me. It would not be harmed.
Where would you take them?
They probably, as I would say, Kat, they'd prefer to head back to their own world and all of that. Even though they may be an aggressive species and we may be having a very tense truce, it is better to actually be able to head back to a friendly starbase and get them back.
Yeah, but we're already kind of out here. Heading back to a starbase could take us weeks out of our way. Tell me, Searchlight,
Take like a week.
would it be possible for you to transport them back to their homeworld?
Space is really only an illusion. I suppose it would be possible. Where would you like me to deposit them?
I believe taking them back to their homeworld, to Kronos, would be best for them.
Ah, Kronos. Indeed.
If
Yes,
you would
I can
do
do
that,
that.
if you would do that, I would consider it a personal favor.
Of course. Captain Harriman, Dr. Ozil, and she looks at you, one and then the other. My contemplation is fulfilled. I have found our conversation stimulating, so I will reward you with a glimpse into your own future. And I'm going to spend my remaining threat to do a reversal and change all of your characters' circumstances a little bit. So you guys, Dr. Ozil and Captain Harriman, you blink, and then you find yourselves standing on a rocky surface, a harsh wind blowing in your face. It's too dark to see your surroundings, and then a flash of lightning splits the sky. You see the enormous wreck of a crashed starship on the landscape of a barren planet. You can't make out any markings on the hull, but the silhouette is unmistakable. A Constitution-class starship. Something horrific and enormous lurks beyond the wrecked ship. You blink, and then you're back on the bridge of the Venture, along with Commander Han.
I'm guessing the rest of the bridge crew are a little surprised to see us here.
They are.
Well, gentlemen, that was interesting, shall we say?
Han looks at his own hand and, his feet. He's going to look around with wild eyes of complete surprise and say, Captain, Doctor, what just happened here?
We basically met a alien race that was going through what they say to be the true final frontier, their own limits of self. Seems to be along the lines of similar to the Earth ideals of Buddhism.
That is very interesting. How long were they gone, by the way?
Seconds.
Oh,
wow. Chief, I wonder, could you check the brig and see if the Klingons are still there?
Yes, sir. He's going to, page the people that are at the brig.
Yeah, there's a security officer down there who says, Commander, there was some kind of flash of light, and then both Klingons were gone. I was not made aware of any kind of transport.
I see. Captain, it seems like the Klingons have been transported out.
Yeah. An interesting entity, that Searchlight. Well, at least we know they've gone home, or at least we suppose they have.
Are we still looking at that structure?
Yeah, as you guys turn to the view screen, you see that the space station is still there, but the energy buildup starts to spread out around the entire space station. It starts in those biomimetic tissues on the cap of the mushroom, and it spreads throughout the entire thing until the image on the view screen is too bright to really even look at, and then it flashes and it's gone without any trace.
I wonder if we're going to meet that particular entity again at some point.
Well, suffice to say, this is not going to be the only sort of new alien race we're going to meet out here.
Certainly hope not.
Han basically stays still without saying anything, but you see a cold sweat running down his cheek.
I think I've got some work to do now. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to have a harder time dealing with the vision of the future that we got from Searchlight, or filling in the forms required by the Bureau of Temporal Affairs.
What did you see?
A Bureau of what?
Captain, Doctor, what did you see when you established a telepathic link with that entity?
I think you're going to need to wait for the full report to read that one, Chief. You're going to find it interesting, particularly for the future.
Aye, aye, Captain.
The officer sitting at the helm says, "Is there a course you want me to land, Captain?"
Yeah, I think resume our original course, warp 4.
Aye, sir. And he pushes some buttons, and the warp engines start to warm up. You hear that familiar whine as the USS Venture warps toward the next adventure. And that is where we will end tonight's session. A 5-year mission.
Sweet.
Cool.
Not too bad a start, I hope.
Well, good thing that security chief didn't go there, because he'd be like, "Oh no, it is exactly like the Trenton."
Not again! Not again!
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and check his file again. You're going to have to let me know if he's too unstable to be security chief, Doctor.
Let's just say that the Trenton was just an isolated incident, but everything that went wrong.
Oh, personally, I put it down to the fact that somebody, when they designed the Constitution class, decided to replace all the normal controls with candy.
With jelly beans?
Unlabeled candy at that.
Let me try the green one.
I've got a feeling that's what the Lieutenant Barley did. Let's see, is it the lime, or is it the strawberry, or the lemon?
Popcorn!
Well, guys, I'm going to shut the broadcast down right now. So please tune in next time for the continued adventures of the USS Venture on Star Trek Explorers.
Nice.